Hello, Tech Pros, episode 179.
Just awareness. Awareness of what's going on, awareness that we need more women in technology. Again, not because it's the right thing, right? Because we want diversity overall, but because it improves the company's bottom line.
Welcome to the podcast where I chat with professionals who are getting the job done using technology 7 days a week. Each week, we start with Motivation Monday. Tuesday is about productivity, Wednesday, leadership, Thursday, technology, Friday, people and communication, Saturday, entrepreneurship, and Sunday, being unplugged. All right, let's get started. Hello, Tech Pros. This is Chad Bostic, and I'm excited to introduce our featured guest today, Brandy Semore. Happy Thursday, Brandy.
Happy Thursday.
Are you ready to geek out and talk technology with me?
I'm always ready.
Awesome. Brandy Semore has over 15 years of management experience in various fields with a strong grounding in internet, data center operations, and business management strategies. She graduated from Oklahoma State University with a bachelor's degree in journalism and holds an MBA from Oklahoma City University with an emphasis in project management and is PMP certified with the Project Management Institute. Beyond being a working mom, delicately balancing her career with her family, she is passionate in helping and serving others. Brandy is dedicated to coaching others and managing successful projects, regardless of one's background or training, as seen from her blog articles, Project Success 6 Factors. She's also an advocate for equal pay and equal opportunity for women working in technology. She serves as the volunteer president and executive director for Oklahoma Women in Technology, or OKWIT, I think it's pronounced OKWIT, which she co-founded in March 2016. Since its inception, OKWIT has attained 200 members and expanded from the OKC metro area into Tulsa. She's also the director of operations for Pinnacle Business System, an information technology solutions provider. Brandy, thank you so much for joining me on the call today. I'm super excited about this call, about this topic in technology, because it's one that I'm very, very passionate about.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk about it too and get the word out.
Cool. So, Brandy, as you know, today on Technology Thursday on Hello Tech Pros, it's always about the past, the present, and the future of technology. And I love this this position of yours as being an advocate for equal pay and equal I can't talk today, but equal pay and opportunities for women working in technology. To be honest with you, Brandy, I don't know that I was a perfect male counterpart in the workplace 20 years ago when I got started. Just to be fair, I was kind of ignorant on things and very bashful and shy, and there weren't a lot of ladies in technology. And so when we would see one, it would kind of be like, wow, oh, that's weird. Hey, what are you doing here? You're a girl. And now looking back on it, I kind of feel like a jerk for a lot of things that I've said in the past. And especially since 2009, we had a baby girl. And once I had this baby girl, my eyes were opened up to, man, what have I been in the past? What is the world in technology, right? I want my daughter to feel very comfortable going into the workplace, to have all the same opportunities that I had when I was getting into the field, and I just want equality across the workplace, no matter what the gender or where the background or what the orientation or anything is, right? So I just want equality for everybody, and just let the smartest, hardest working people rise to the top and knock things out and get it done. So that's my feelings, and we can touch on that back and forth throughout the podcast. But I really want to talk to you today about what you've seen in this area on the past, the present, and then hopefully what we can look forward to in the future.
Absolutely. And I'm with you, honestly, as a woman myself, and being in technology now for over 15 years, often the only woman in the room, or the only woman on the phone, or the only woman in the meeting. And, it really didn't bother me much, to be quite honest with you. But I've always thought it would be great if we had more women. I know this is a great industry to be in. I know that it's lucrative, and I know that there are endless opportunities. And so I've always been an advocate for wanting and getting more women in technology. But I also had a daughter 6 years ago. And it wasn't until I had a daughter that I realized that if things don't change, she's going to be the only woman in the room as well. And that's when I became passionate about, okay, we know we need change, but how are we going to make change happen? because I too want a better world for her in the future and for everyone. But here's the thing: it's not just about getting more women in technology. We all agree that equal pay and equal opportunity is important. We all agree, I think for the most part, right? And we all agree that closing the gender gap is important. But it's beneficial to companies as well to have diversity, because statistically, we know that if you have a diverse group of employees working for you, overall, but especially in leadership positions, and that's another topic we can get into here in a little bit, but especially in leadership positions, the more women that you have, like to where it's 50-50 equal split, you see productivity go up and your revenue increases. So these are important things for companies to be aware of, not just because it's right, but because it's profitable as well. So about 5.5 months ago, a few of my work colleagues and I said, you know what, if we're going to do this, now's the time to do it. Because we were often at meetings where we were the only women in the room, and it's easy to get overlooked. Or like you said, the guys go, "Wow, there's a woman in the room," and then they stop talking shop and they start talking about something else, as though we wouldn't be able to handle the shop talk, right? Mm-hmm. So that's why we put the Oklahoma Women in Technology Foundation together, is to bring awareness to companies and to management and to men in general about why this is important. And hey, we have a voice and we're pretty smart too, and we can contribute. So, that's what we're trying to get out. And then also we're trying to encourage women, like to Sheryl Sandberg's point, lean in, make your voice heard. Don't just expect it to be heard, make it heard. So there's a lot that we're there's a lot that we're doing with our Oklahoma Women in Technology group to make those things happen.
Man, that's an amazing initiative. I love that you've started this up, and I don't feel as bad now. I still feel horrible, but not as bad, because it's pervasive, right? It's across the business, and I think it affects everybody. So at the end of this call, what I want to get out of this, me personally, what I want to know is, how do we react, right? How do we communicate? How should we behave in the office, in the workplace, and out of the office, out of the workplace? But first, let's talk a little bit about maybe the past. So we're going to talk about the past, present, and future. So you talked about, back before you had your daughter, back before I had my daughter, the things that we've seen. Kind of historically, what have you seen, or what statistics have you learned about women in technology before today? Like, go back 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from today.
I'm so glad you asked. There's all kinds of blog articles and stories and research out there that I wasn't even aware of until we started this organization and I started to do my research. For instance, women built the first computer, and that blew me away. I had no idea. And after that, they realized, these group of women, they were like, wow, we're pretty good at this. And then the computer science degree came about, and women flooded the computer science degree classrooms. They were good at it. They liked it. And the majority of computer science degree college students at that time were women. Now, in 1980, all of a sudden, that dropped. Women just dropped out of the picture. And there's a lot of reasons out there that people have, stated it could be this or it could be that. And without targeting any certain companies, I won't go into that. People can research for themselves what happened in the 1980s that made women drop out of computer science. But they did. And since then, the numbers are not getting any better. We know that. For instance, in 1990, women held about 35% of the computing jobs, just 35%. And even though we think that we're getting more progressive as a country, we're not, because that number has now dropped, and we're at 26% of women holding computing jobs in the United States. So it's not getting better. It's actually getting worse.
Wow. That's sad. That's horrible. And I've read stories about Ada Babbage, back in the day, and the first computer programmer and all that kind of stuff. And then through, the different world wars that we had, and we had the computer operators, right, that were doing all the really heavy mathematical computations on, how to attack the enemy, and, how to project where the bombs were going to fall and all that kind of stuff, were women computer operators. But it sucks. It's really sad, and it really sucks that this happened in the 1980s, early 80s, late 70s. where all the ladies dropped out, or a good portion, a number of ladies dropped out, and then since then it hasn't really gotten better. It's only gotten worse. And there was a time recently, just a few months ago, as a matter of fact. I won't name names, but we had a family member over and some friends over, and I was leaving the house to go to a meetup group, so a technology meetup group here in Central Florida. And I work from home, so I kind of dress like a slob most days. But I put my dress clothes, like my nicer clothes on, my business clothes, and kissed my wife goodbye and said, I'll see you guys this evening. And as a joke, right, she always says every time I leave the house, be good, just meaning be good, not meaning anything particularly bad, but just be a good boy. And so I laughed, as I always do. I start walking out, and this family member said, oh, you don't have anything to worry about. And I thought she was going to defend me, like Chad's a good guy. He's just going to a work group. It's nothing but a bunch of men. And I stopped at the door, and I shut the door, and I turned around and I said, hang on. We need to address this because my daughter's in the room. It is not just a bunch of men. It is majority men, but there are women there too. And that's an awesome thing. That's a great thing. Now, I'm not going to do anything dumb, and I'm not going to, get in trouble with my wife and do any messing around, because I'm not that guy, right? I'm a faithful husband. And so that's why she needs to understand that I'm going to be good, but not because there's no women there and that I'm never going to meet or talk to a woman at a business conference. It's about business. It's not about like guys and girls hooking up and having dates or whatever. So I don't know where that came from, but this individual felt that I would be going to a business event, a technology event, and there wouldn't be any females there, and not to worry about it. And then really that stressed me out a lot.
But to her point, that's how a lot of people feel, right? It's not, it's not right, and I know that it's not right, but that's how a lot of people in our society, I think the majority of people in our society feel. That's why a lot of girls don't choose computer science degrees. They don't choose engineering degrees. They don't choose degrees that are going to help them be successful in technology, because it's seen as a boys' club. It is. It's seen as a boys' club. And even parents, as we raise our children, because I'm in this industry, I'm very aware. that we have a problem, just as you are. You talk about your daughter, and you're very aware of it as well. But I take initiative and I take actions to try to introduce her to technology, get her interested in technology. There's all kinds of cool things that we're doing in Oklahoma Women in Technology to get high school girls to choose technology degrees, STEM-related degrees. But we're having to make that effort, because otherwise these girls wouldn't know about these types of jobs or how cool they can be, because they're not being pushed into them by their parents. Because, again, back to your family member's point, we view it as a boys' club as a whole, I think. Our society does.
Man, okay, so before we get into the future of how do we change this, we talked about what it was in the past, and now today, as a woman in technology, what do you see? Like, we have seen the numbers drop from 35% of computing jobs in the U.S. now to 26% today. Is it just a declining curve where it's just getting worse and worse every year? Or do you see that number kind of bottoming out, and now we're at, okay, here's the baseline, and now it's only going to go up from here?
That's a great question, and unfortunately, I don't have the answer. I would like to believe that we've bottomed out, and there's only one way to go, and that's up, because we know, based on where we're headed, right? And I know we're going to talk about the future in a little bit, but based on where we're headed, we know that the future is technology. So if that number continues to drop, and less women continue to enter computing-type jobs in the United States, then we're in big trouble as a whole, because what happens to our productivity? What happens to our diversity? So for the present time, I hope it's dropped. I hope it doesn't. I hope it's bottomed out. I hope it doesn't continue to drop,
Absolutely. So as you guys just recently, within the last 6 months, put together the Oklahoma Women in Technology group, and are bringing ladies together and bringing men together and really talking about this issue and focusing on it, what have you guys learned or seen together as a group?
That's a great question. Several things. What's been interesting is when we first started this group, I was a little bit concerned about if people were going to struggle with being honest about what's really happening out there in the workforce. And what I've noticed is that, by the way, we now have like 375 members. So it's gone up tremendously since
Nice.
I gave you that report last. Yeah, but what I was a little bit concerned about is that people weren't going to be able to be honest about what's happening. So we have these monthly events, and every event's a little bit different. We'll have a speaker or a panel, or we do like a TED Talk screening, and then we have an open discussion afterwards. And through the speakers that we've had and the panels that we've had, it's going to be pointless if people don't speak the truth about what's happening or what they've experienced or what they think we need to do to change it. Because women as a whole have to be careful and guarded about their careers, right? They don't want to say too much because then that could damage them with the men that they work with. I mean, it's the struggle is real. It's a fact. And so, but what I have found, and I think what we have found as a group, is that when we come together, and another funny thing too is the majority of us are introverts, and just kind of as a whole, we're introverted. But what's funny is when we come together, we really open up because we have that foundation where we can connect. So we are making friends, we're connecting, it's becoming this great support group. These women just in the last 5-6 months have become my confidants, they've become my peers, they've become like sisters to me. I call them, I talk to them about what do you think I should do about this project I'm working on, or how should I confront this with my boss. We're providing a network out there to these women and to myself that otherwise we wouldn't have, because we are the only woman in the room at our companies, right? And we're being open and honest about what we're experiencing, and only through that can we say, wow, I'm not the only one. Okay, well, how do we change this? And so it's been amazing, the communication that we have flowing within the group, and men also coming to events and being a part of it and hearing what we're talking about. Last night, as a matter of fact, we had an event discussing how do we get more women in leadership, and we had several men in the room, and for them, and they're in management positions in technology companies across our city. And so for them to hear that we're experiencing this, I think is eye-opening for them as well, to be, wow, I didn't even realize that this is a factor, kind of like you said you experienced before you had a daughter. So it's been amazing.
That's awesome. I love it when introverts get together and do amazing things, because I've always been introverted, and I've not just introverted, but had a lot of social anxiety issues, had a lot of just shyness, extremely shyness. And so even when I was in a room full of computer scientists, programmers, but it was a wide, diverse mix of people, I always felt a lot of times throughout my career like an outsider, and I found it a struggle, a big struggle to like find my voice and to speak up in the room, especially if there was more than just 2 or 3 of my closest buddies, but to speak up and say, hey, here's what's right, here's what's wrong, here's what I see, here's my perception on things, and here's my advice on what to do. So I love the fact that you guys are getting together, and now all these quiet people who are introverted, who just want to, handle the data and focus on the code and stuff, are now getting together and be like, boom, and now we have a community, and we're all sharing, and we're talking, and we're communicating, and we're speaking up, and we're being engaged. That's awesome. I love to see that.
It is awesome. It really is.
Cool. So as you guys are guys and gals, is that bad? Is that bad that I say guys just out of habit when I say people?
No,
when
I say
people?
guys. I say, hey, you guys. Yeah, I say guys.
Okay, cool. Because I don't want to be that guy. You know what I mean? I don't want to be that guy.
You're fine.
So yeah, when folks get together, when you guys get together, like what has been the biggest transformation that you've seen in that community, or with the individuals, or with yourself? Like, has there been like a huge shift or huge change just in your area, just in your metro, or has it been more on the individual level?
Yeah, I think, here's the really cool thing about this is, again, we're at the 5.5 month mark. So we're still in our infancy stage. And the fact that we have almost 400 members, and we have our members range from all different positions, all different fields across technology companies, right? They don't necessarily have to be programmers or data analysts. They're project managers, and they're folks who are in marketing, and they're folks who are in HR, but they work within the technology industry, so they get it. Mm-hmm. And what I think has been the greatest transformation so far that we have witnessed just in under 6 months is what I see changing in a lot of the women who are members of our organization. They are being empowered and I see it, and it's amazing, and myself included, right? Like, we feel like, wow, I have a voice, and I have something to contribute here, and I can make a difference. And so to see these women being empowered from 6 months ago, where maybe they were a little bit shy, they're kind of like me, they aren't sure, if people want to hear what they have to say, to now all of a sudden they know that people want to hear what they have to say. They're asking for raises at work. I mean, I know personally of a lot of women who have asked for a raise at work since we started this. They're asking for promotions at work, and they're getting into those leadership positions where they need to be in the first place. And that's just in under 6 months.
That's awesome. Congratulations. That's really cool to hear.
Yeah, it is.
Awesome. So, Brandy, in just a moment, let's talk about the future of women in technology and the future of just bringing, I almost said bringing balance to the force. I'll go ahead and say it. Bringing balance to the force as I'm looking up here at my Star Wars posters up on the wall, right? We want to bring balance in the diversity, balance in the opportunities to everyone, including the ladies that are in technology. But first, let's take a quick break and thank our sponsors. Chad Bostic here, and I've got a very special announcement concerning next week. Next week is going to kick off my very first Signature Series week. That is one full week dedicated to a single course, a single topic, and that topic next week is career development, specifically my Career Hyperdrive course, how to get unstuck in your career and launch your career back into hyperspace. Now, we're going to have 7 full days of content, and what you're going to get out of it is motivation that you need to overcome your biggest career obstacles, productivity tips to help you crush it at work without killing your personal life, leadership training that will build your respect and influence across the organization without needing to move into the management tracks, a technology mastery blueprint that's going to guide you through the process of selecting the right technology for the right problem every time, social engineering hacks to break into the elite inner circles and get a seat at the adult table, entrepreneurship tactics that will raise your value and salary within your organization and increase your reputation and negotiation power to the marketplace, and the peace of mind to unplug from the job without anxiety or guilt. Now, if this sounds good to you, you do not want to miss any of the episodes next week. And you're going to want to sign up for the course, the online course, because you're going to get access to all of the takeaways and all of the homework sessions. There will be homework. You have to do the homework in order to get unstuck. You can't succeed just by listening. So go to hellotechpros.com/career to sign up for the free course and get access to all the content. Again, that's hellotechpros.com/career. Okay, we're back with Brandy Semore. Brandy has over 15 years of management experience in various fields in technology. She is PMP certified. She's recently started a group, and she serves as the volunteer and president, executive director for the Oklahoma Women in Technology group. And we've been talking to Brandy about in the past and the present, the past of, at the very beginnings of computer development and computer programming, like ladies were all over it. Like they owned this field. They owned the technology field. They built it right from the ground up. And then it wasn't until late 70s, early 80s when a lot of things deteriorated. And the ladies started abandoning the field to go do other things. And it kind of became a guys club, right? It became a boys club where it was only boys were allowed, or it felt like only boys were allowed. And the boys started being maybe a little bit exclusive. And it was just the whole culture, right? It was very, very pervasive. It's been very pervasive for the last 20, 30 years, where even our family members who are not in technology think, oh, well, Chad's only going to be hanging out with his buddies, right, at this technology thing. There's not going to be any girls there. That's not true. There are girls there, but there's not enough. It has recently dropped down to only 26% of the IT workforce, technology workforce are women. So, Brandy, what can we do about this as we look to the future to restore balance to the force, as I said before the break, so that we can get close that gender gap back to 50-50?
There's some key items here that we as a whole, as a society, can do. And I think the first thing is it starts at home. And I always talk to my friends and they talk to their friends, but it starts with us. It starts as parents. Introduce your girls to technology. Introduce them to Legos and building blocks and things that encourage them to be an architect and an engineer. Have them look at the stars with the telescope. Give them a microscope. Do experiments with them. Get them interested in technology. There are all kinds of scratch camps out there, programming, camps, one-day retreats, etc., that will show them, hey, you can do this and you're good at it and it's pretty cool and you might like it, and spark that interest in them early and encourage it. So it starts with us as parents. The other thing is for high school administrators to be aware as well, introducing girls to technology opportunities, encouraging them from an advisory standpoint to pursue STEM-related or IT-related degrees. And then it goes into the collegiate level. Professors need to be aware. I've heard a lot of stories in the last 6 months of professors who have said comments, probably unknowingly, that discouraged the girls from continuing those courses and they've dropped out. So be aware on a collegiate level that what you say can have a big impact on a girl who may be a little bit uncertain herself already, and encourage them and be inclusive of them. And then once they get into the workforce, if they do stay the course and they go into the IT industry, it's important for companies to be aware. So especially with a lot of technology companies, they do events, and I'm just going to kind of use this as an example, but they do events that are usually geared towards men because we know that it's a male-dominated industry. Fishing trips, gun range excursions, golfing, days, etc. And while women like to go fish, or women like to go shoot guns, or they like to go play golf as well, it sets a tone that says this is a guy's thing. And if you're a lady and you want to join, that's great, but it just sets a tone, right? And so I would say be aware of that and do events that are more inclusive, like that are still cool for both men and women, right? Like have a private chef set up something where they learn how to cook a certain thing and they can bring their wife or their husband. So I'm just saying, like, be aware of the type of events that you're hosting for the technology employees. And then for management and technology positions, for men especially, is be aware of the talent pool that you have right there. So we know that, and this is a whole other topic, but we know that as a whole, men reach for opportunity more than women. They ask for raises. They ask for promotions more than women. And whereas women don't, unless they feel like they meet 100% of the criteria to get that job or to get that raise or to get that promotion. And so for men who are in management, be aware of that. Know that that is happening. And if a woman doesn't reach out to you, don't think it's because she's not interested or because she doesn't have the go-getter attitude. She just may not be applying for that because she doesn't feel like she fits it, and even though she does, right? So just awareness as a whole is what we need to implement with getting more women in technology.
All of those examples that you shared, starting with it starts at home. It starts with our kids. It starts with our daughters, your daughter and my daughter. And I got to share a short story on this. I think I'm going to turn this into a whole nother episode by itself. But have you guys played with this new technology, this new tool called Osmo?
No.
Have you heard of this? Okay. You got to check this thing out. We just got it in the mail this week. So my daughter's homeschooled. She was in kindergarten last year and she was at public school in kindergarten. And my wife is a genius with just curriculum and teaching and stuff like that. So she was well ahead of all of her peers. And honestly, throughout the kindergarten year, she was just bored, just completely bored, spacing out, not paying attention because she didn't need to, because whenever they asked a question, she's like, oh, yes, this, right, whatever, how to do phonics, how to do blending letters or whatever. And so we decided this year that she would be homeschooled. And so she's homeschooled first grade. And so one of the kind of extra things, since we're doing it all here, is focus on technology and focus on what are some of the tools and things that we can bring in, to help with math and with science and technology and so forth. And this little device called Osmo, OSMO, it's awesome. It hooks up to your iPad. So we've got an iPad mini and it installs 3 or 4 different apps on it, plug it in, and it has different kits and different plugins that each kind of are designed to help in different areas, right? So there are words, there are tangrams, which are like these blocks, these shapes that you move them together, like has different, You just have to see it, but it's different shapes that you kind of put together and kind of build things, not like Legos where you're building a 3D structure, but just with like 2D shapes that you're moving together to shape the form of a house or the form of a tiger or whatever. And one of the things that I love about it is the Osmo coding. So we plugged this in yesterday, and we had so much fun that Mommy had to tell us to take a break and go do something else because Daddy just wanted to play Osmo coding with my daughter all day and all night. So it literally teaches kids how to write code, and it has physical manipulatives. So the iPad you put a little mirror, like a little a little device on top of the iPad. And so it looks down on the desktop on where you're working. And then you have these physical manipulatives that say like run 2 squares, run 3 squares, jump 1 square, turn left, turn right. And as you put them down in order, it builds a sequence. It builds commands that then when you push the button, the little character, the little avatar on the video game like actually moves around and collects strawberries. And the better you build your sequence, like the more bonus points, the more bonus strawberries you get. And it's a blast because we're basically building commands. Let's say, turn to the right, walk 3 spaces, jump over the lake, pick up the strawberry, do this thing. And so we're building commands. We're building software, right? But with actual physical manipulatives that we can pick up and touch and move around and plug together. And my daughter loves it, and I don't know. I think I love it more. It's awesome.
That sounds awesome. I'm getting that. There's no doubt. That sounds amazing.
It's very cool. I think I'm going to have to geek out and do a whole nother episode just on reviewing this product because I love it so much. We might shoot some videos of us doing this. But Brandy, let's get back to what do you do with your daughter? How do you help your daughter get involved in technology? So you talked about scratch camps and telescopes and microscopes. What kind of stuff does your daughter love to learn about?
So everything. Everything. Their minds are like a sponge, and they're so hungry for information. And that's what's so great about being aware of this and knowing that you have the ability as a parent to plug into whatever you want, right, for them. And so she loves her microscope. She loves the telescope. She has the app that's on your iPad where you can see the stars and you hold it up to the sky and you can see right. She loves that. We're always trying different things, and we get all kinds of different books. And I encourage her to play blocks. I get construction books for her. So I don't just do girl only type stuff.
Right.
We're only going to play with Barbie dolls, and Barbie dolls are great because that encourages your imagination, right? But playing with blocks and building structures and learning about construction sites and how you build a skyscraper, those are cool things too for little girls to learn. And so I just focus on all things that would encourage a development or an interest in any area like that.
That's awesome. And then we also talked about, as the girls start growing up, they're in a high school. Okay, we need to make sure the high school administrators, we need to make sure the tutors and the mentors, they're all, telling and teaching and showing different STEM-related activities, STEM-related jobs. And then at the collegiate level, keep encouraging that. Don't say dumb stuff. Maybe that's something that we can touch on. I don't want this to turn into anything negative, but maybe we could talk about some examples of what not to do. Because in my circumstance, I'm sure I've said stupid things in the past that were not good, right? So is that okay if we just mention
Absolutely.
one or two things that have come up or that you've seen personally that's maybe guys aren't aware of or girls aren't aware of, that are things that are being said that maybe we could touch on and say, okay, this is what not to do?
Absolutely. So one example of that comes to mind immediately is I know a girl who was taking an early programming class in college. And she went in. Of course, she's the only girl in the classroom, and the professor is doing roll call, trying to get to know the students, right, day one. And he comes to her, and he goes, "Wait, are you sure you're in the right class?" And that immediately says, "You don't belong here."
Wow.
And I know in his heart of hearts, he probably didn't mean for it to come across that way. Maybe he was also unaware of, hey, girls, need to be encouraged to do this, and maybe he's not used to having girls in his classroom, and that's why he said that. But she dropped out. She dropped out of that class.
Yeah, like you said, it could be something very innocent where the guys are like the professor, the manager, the whoever doesn't really expect ladies to join because they never see them. But when they do see them, they say the wrong thing, and it drives the girls away.
Right. And then another thing is sometimes it's not that you say something wrong, it's the fact that you don't say anything at all. So I know one young lady who's in engineering classes right now, and she's really considering moving into a different career type, a degree. And we're trying to, the OKWIT ladies, we're trying to encourage her to stay the course. But the reason why is because she's the only girl in there. And nobody's reaching out to her, trying to, befriend her. The professor's not reaching out to her, and so it's not what you don't say sometimes, or it's not what you do say. It's what you don't say. And so just be aware on a collegiate level, professors, college advisors, be aware that this may already be a tough career for the girl to be in because she's, the only girl in the classroom, and make an effort to make her feel comfortable and make her feel like she's a part of the team as well.
Awesome. Great stuff. Brandy, before we leave this conversation today, do you have any final words of wisdom for our audience? And then share the best way that we can connect with you. And then we'll say goodbye.
Just awareness of what's going on, awareness that we need more women in technology. Again, not because it's the right thing, right? Because we want diversity overall, but because it improves the company's bottom line. It improves productivity. So it's good for the company, and it's good for the employees, and it's good for women as a whole. That's it. Just awareness and doing what you can to get more women in technology.
Awesome. Brandy, thank you so much for joining me on Hello Tech Pros today. I really value this message, right? It means a lot to me now that I have a daughter, and now that I see the world, and I've talked to my wife, and I've talked to other ladies in technology about, hey, how come you're the only one? How come, there's only 10% of ladies in this department, or 20% of ladies in this conference? And they've said a lot of the same things that you just said today, but I appreciate you getting on this forum, this format with me, this podcast, so that we can share it and spread the word, because the more people are talking about it, the more people that are aware of it, if I could speak, then, hopefully the better that we can make the environment.
Absolutely. And thank you for having me.
You bet. Tech Pros, if you are in the situation where you see this, right? You see this. You guys all see this. Guys and girls, everybody, you see what's going on. So just take some time this week to reach out to someone outside of your comfort zone. Reach out to someone outside of your group. Whether you're a guy that normally hangs out with all the guys in the lunchroom and the break room, right? Or goes out to lunch with your buddies, with your guy buddies at lunch, or whether the ladies, if you're in tech and you guys kind of birds of a feather kind of stick together, right? Everybody's kind of sticking off in their own groups. Let's break it up a little bit just for this next week. Let's really focus on next week, reaching out to other people across the boundaries, and just start building relationships. Just start building conversations. Hey, how's it going? What are you working on? Tell me about your role. Tell me about your dreams. Tell me about your goals. Like, where did you come from? Where are you going? And let's just start building conversations with each other, and just treat each individual as awesome individual people and get to know them. And let's break down these barriers and make it better. You've been listening to Brandy Semore, and I'm Chad Bostic. And until next time, take care. The show notes page for this episode can be found at hellotechpros.com/179. Do you use Slack for team communication? Join the Hello Tech Pros Slack channel at hellotechpros.com/Slack. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a review, subscribe to this channel, and check back tomorrow. This has been Technology Thursday, but tomorrow my featured guest and I discuss people and communication. On Saturday, we talk entrepreneurship, Sunday, being unplugged, Monday, motivation, Tuesday, productivity, Wednesday, leadership, and back again on Thursday to discuss technology once again. And I'll talk to you tomorrow.